an awkward start. That was Thursday. I thought it would be kind of fun. Thursday, December 3rd, regular class as we get into Shadow Club for today. Let's see, that, books. As far as that goes, as of now, option number 1 is in the lead at 15 points. If it gets to 20, then it actually happens, and we'll see from there. And then option number 4 is in second place at 7 points. Tomorrow is the last day for it to happen, and then I'll shave one way or the other over the weekend. If you discover that you either have not know where your book is and need to do the digital version, or you're at home and you left your book at school, then on my website is the digital one that you can download to help you out. We don't have a project on the book, but one of the things we're going to have to do is we're going to have homework, we'll have a quiz, we'll have a test, stuff like that. One of the first homeworks you're going to have is where you have to connect the book to your life with the exposition, because what is the exposition in a book?
Boring.
Boring, beginning, intro stuff. And so my goal is I'll read the exposition to you to help us get through it, because hopefully we'll get through the exposition by tomorrow and get you guys to the rising action, because then the story, the rising action, is a lot of fun. But as we get to the exposition with the introduction of people, what I'm going to have you do, since you can write in your book, is write in your book. As we go through and if you find a connection to someone you know or something in your life, just highlight it or circle it or put a star next to it or whatever works for you, or you can mark it in some way in your book. And then that works for me. And I will let you know the ones I've marked, because I did the same thing in my book and I made the little connections, and then I'll give you a chance to share them. Mr. Brovicast, do we have to do this? Absolutely not. Just like everything. The only thing you have to do is breathe. And for some of you, that could be optional too. But other than that, it's just to make your life easier, because it's going to connect, and we have the homework coming up. If you have these marked, it just means that your homework goes faster. If you don't have them marked, it just means that you have more homework later. It's fine with me. AJ.
So there's like a series to this book, right?
There's a second book, yeah.
That's it?
That's it, just 2.
Okay, so like, what if you want like to keep it like for the next book?
That's fine.
Okay. So you have to write in it?
No.
Or can you use a sticky note to write?
Sure.
Okay.
James.
My pen messed up, so can I borrow the pencil?
Or if you give us that pen, she can give you a different one.
It's jacked up.
I know. That's why I give you a different one.
Oh.
Yeah, you just put that, move it on my desk, and she'll get you a brand new pen. Because that's just bad luck, not being irresponsible. Alright, as we get into it. Prologue. We'll get to it from there. Oh. There we go. Now I'll leave this up. Go back. There we go. I suppose you want to know all about us, don't you? All the nasty, horrible details about the vicious things we did. How we planned the accidents. How we plotted against everyone who got in our way. That's what you want to hear about, isn't it? Well, it wasn't like that. Okay, well, not to us anyway. Well, not at first. Things just got carried away, that's all. We were all good kids. I mean, really good kids. Not a single kid in the Shadow Club had ever done anything bad. And there wasn't a single delinquent in the bunch. Well, not at first. You guys know what a delinquent is?
A
Yeah.
bad
Kid who
kid.
gets in trouble with bad kid of some kind.
Bad.
Yeah?
It cut it out, like various things we did, and there's nothing more.
Keep going. That's just a little introduction. I'm on the actual start of the book. Keep turning pages.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There you go. I still don't know how it all happened. We just lost control, you know? Too many bad feelings have a way of spinning together into one killer tornado. And none of us in the Shadow Club knew how to stop it, or for that matter, where I was going. I haven't told anyone the whole story yet. I don't like to talk about it because it scares me. I get nightmares. When I was little, I got nightmares about werewolves or dumb things like that. Now, I get nightmares about myself. And since it happened, I've been catching other kids looking at me funny. Like I'm a different person now. Like I'm that monster I dreamed about. It's not true. I don't know how to prove to them that I'm still me. I'm just a whole lot smarter now, that's all. Like I said, I haven't told anyone, but I can't keep it in anymore. If I do, I'll go crazy. So, listen closely. and I'll tell you all there is to know about the Shadow Club. But you have to promise you won't hate me when I'm done. I'll begin long before any of the bad stuff happened. Before I spied on Tyson McGaw. Even before the first meeting. Way back when that tornado wasn't even a breeze. Just a bunch of thoughts kept secretly in the back of our minds. Thoughts we were sure no one else could understand. It all started that day in the graveyard. There are no chapter numbers in this book. They just do chapter titles. So chapter 1 is just called Chapter Stupid Talk. It was the strangest place for anyone to have a wedding. And whoever came up with the idea of having weddings there must have had a very sick mind. This town has to be the only town in the history of the world that has weddings in a cemetery. Anyway, it was the first day of September, and we all stood there in the rose garden at the very edge of Shady Bluff Memorial Park, sipping punch from tiny cups and stuffing our faces with little cheese hors d'oeuvres, waiting for the wedding to start. Cheryl's mom was getting married. Cheryl had been nervously chewing the lip of her cup until there was none of it left and checking to see if her hair was still in place. She had good reason to be nervous, since it was her mother's wedding, and she was about to have a new father, but that wasn't the only reason she was nervous. I just know they're going to ask me to sing, Cheryl mumbled under her breath. Huh? Said Randall, her younger brother. Sing? They're going to ask me to sing. Don't be dumb. People don't sing in cemeteries. That was a good point. No, I mean later, at the house, during the party, they always ask me to sing. Randall rolled his eyeballs so far back you could almost hear them turning in his head. Like when? I highlighted that part in mine and put my oldest daughter, because she started doing that with my wife all the time. And my wife tries hard not to punch her in the face. Cheryl thought for a moment, then a smirk spread over her face. Like at your birthday party? She said triumphantly. She looked at me, but I knew better than to stick my nose in this one. My nose had been whacked too many times for being where it never should have been in the first place. This was their argument. Yeah, well, guess what, said Randall. I got news for you. Nobody asked you. You got up there and sang anyway, all on your lonesome. That's not true, said Cheryl. Somebody asked me. Who? I don't remember who. It doesn't matter. The point is that I was asked, and as I recall, everyone clapped. They clapped because I blew out the candles. Well, yeah, that too. But they liked the way I led Happy Birthday. I kept them all in tune. You were louder than everyone else, you mean. And you didn't have to stand on a chair. That was embarrassing. Someone has to lead. It's like the national anthem at a ball game. Someone has to lead it, or everyone sings at the wrong time, out of tune, and it sounds lousy. It was about that time that I forced my ears closed and tuned the two of them out. True, Cheryl and Randall were my friends, but there's only so much stupid talk a human brain can listen to. And when Cheryl and Randall got started, they could stupid talk each other till their mouths wore out. I turned off my brain whenever my parents did it, and I turned off my brain whenever my friends did it. I highlighted stupid talk and put down whenever my students talk. Was my connection. I was closer friends with Cheryl than I was with Randall. In fact, you could say that Cheryl was my best friend. She'd been my best friend all of my life, or as far back as I could remember. Back to the days when it was all right for little boys to play with little girls, because we didn't really know the difference. And through the time when everyone would make fun of us, because boys were supposed to do boys things with boys, and girls were supposed to do girls things with girls. Now, well, no one much bothered us, because at 14, everyone has more sense. Besides, people envied us, because everyone was so sure we were a lot more than we really were, if you know what I mean. Other kids always think that kind of thing if you're friends with a girl. Because what is it other people think?
Relationship.
That they're dating. And they're not. They're just friends for now. Anyway.
For now.
Hint,
You
hint.
spoiling something?
No, it's...
Wow.
Anyway, neither... Or I I'm making stuff up just to taunt you because you guys are just sitting there staring at me.
No.
Well, boo on you. They both die on the next page anyway.
What? What?
Yeah, now who's spoiling what?
Horrible team.
Anyway, yes, I am. Neither Cheryl nor Randall knew when to shut up or when to give up, because they were always so convinced that they were right. They argued like lawyers, which is something they both got from their mother, who is a lawyer. This time, however, I knew for a fact that Randall was right. No one had asked Cheryl to sing at that party. The only person that was asked to sing was Cheryl's cousin Rebecca. And luckily, Cheryl was out back when it happened, or else she would have been in an evil mood for the rest of the day. Cheryl hated Rebecca about as much as I hated Austin Pace, but we'll leave that for later. You just watch. Mom will come over to me and ask me to sing when she and Paul have their first dance. I'll bet you. You're on, said Randall. I'd bet you money, but I wouldn't want to make you feel too bad. Fine. It's settled then, I said, just to shut them up. The winner gets no money, but will get to hang their victory over the other person's head for the rest of their life. All right? Fine. Fine. Good. Now, both of you, shut up. It looks like they're going to start. In a few minutes, Randall and Cheryl left to join the bridal party, which would come down the aisle along with the bride. My parents found me, and we went to sit in the rows of chairs by the little vine-covered gazebo in which the wedding would take place. The air was still warm that day, as if they'd forgotten autumn was coming pretty soon, but the trees remembered. You could tell that they were just about ready to start turning colors. It was a nice day for a wedding. Cheryl came down the aisle with the rest of the bridesmaids, and I knew she hated all that makeup and hairspray, but I have to admit, I'd never seen her look so beautiful. Even more beautiful than her mother did in her wedding dress. Of course, I couldn't tell Cheryl that. She tended to punch people who told her she looked beautiful. As the ceremony went on, I saw Cheryl's cousin Rebecca on the other side of the aisle. She sat there like a little princess, all 4 feet of her, pretending to be the cutest thing on earth, like she was taking Shirley Temple lessons or something. Even just sitting, you could sense that air about her, like she was the one in Cheryl's family that everyone adored, and she knew it. I could see why Cheryl resented her. Who wouldn't? All that pretend sweetness all rolled up into one tiny body. Wouldn't it even more irksome for Cheryl? Next week, Rebecca would make her grand entrance into our junior high and would, as always, set out to top anything Cheryl had ever done. They're going to make, what was that, Shirley Temple? Shirley Temple references a couple times in the book. Shirley Temple is a drink, you're correct. If you've ever had Sprite with cherry in it, it's called a Shirley Temple. Especially if you get them at a restaurant. They're delicious. But Shirley Temple is also a person. Do you know who Shirley Temple the person was?
Yes. Yes.
Yay. Russell?
Huh?
Who was Shirley Temple?
She's that little girl in the old movies.
You're right. Little girl in the old movies.
Singing.
She does sing. She did have gills. You're right, like a fish. Oh, hair. Like she had gills. I'm like, that would be kind of weird, like a fish. She did have hair. She was the very first child star, way back in the 1930s. This song, like, animal crackers in my soup, and stuff like that was one of the songs that she did. She was known for being small and adorable and having people like, oh, you're so lovely. And she was like, I'm rich. Nathan?
Did she die last year?
She died a couple years ago.
I thought it was last year.
I think it was before that. Yeah, the problem with being adorable when you're young is that you're not so adorable when you're not young. And so when that was her when she got older. But younger her was looked like that. AJ?
You said lawyers?
At one point, they did say lawyers in here.
It's lawyers.
That's how some people pronounce it.
It's also lawyers.
Pronounce it lawyers.
Right, Russell.
Lawyers.
Parker.
Okay.
It don't matter.
Oh.
Did she play in like the 20th century?
Yes, that sounds about right. 1930s. Well, the wedding went fine, and so did the first half of the party back in Cheryl's backyard. It was when the band started its second set, things started to change. I mean, it seemed that Cheryl was having such a great time dancing and jabbering at anyone who had an ear that she forgot all about her little bet with Randall back in the old graveyard rose garden. It could have gone forgotten. No one, not even Randall, would have cared. But something happened. Cheryl and I were dancing quite a lot since we both liked to dance.